Hello, welcome back to my channel. So Fridays are my library day, and I've gotten into a habit of filming a Friday library book haul for my channel. And today when I got home from the library, I was really just sort of thinking how I was going to present the books that I got at the library in this book haul video, but I saw that I had gotten a delivery of some books that I ordered a couple weeks ago, and so I thought I would sort of combine all of the new arrivals and do a library book haul slash just a traditional good old-fashioned book haul. Two of the books that I have bought that were delivered today were shown in a previous library haul, I think maybe last week or the week before. And the way I utilize my library predominantly is I check out a big stack of books and then I take that week and leaf through them all. I don't sit down and read each one of them, but I sit down, sort of leaf through them all, and then the ones that look really interesting to me, I order, I buy them, and then when I get them, then I sit down and read the whole thing. So I use my library kind of as a stepping stone to figure out if a book is worth purchasing or not, or if it looks like it's interesting but not something that I'm going to be going back to and pulling off the shelf again and again. I will just read it fully from the library, get a renew on it so I can read it, so I have more time, read the whole thing, and then return it, but not buy a copy for myself. So these two books I did find really valuable, and I decided to purchase copies for myself. The first one being Caught in the Revolution by Helen Rappaport. I read the library edition, and I really loved it, and it was one that I wanted to have a representation of on my shelf, and so I did decide to buy a copy. I found a very good priced, very good quality copy on Thrift Books, which I was super excited about. This has been very lightly used, practically new, but it's still used because it's a Thrift Books, so it makes me feel good, not just buying a new book, but repurposing an old one. Then the other one is The Last Tsar by Edward Radzinsky. I did show this one as well, but it's sort of the same situation as the Caught in the Revolution. Kind of leafed through it, saw it had great value for me, and decided to buy a copy. And I was able to find a great copy, hardback, good quality copy on Thrift Books for not too much money, which was excellent. I will keep on with the books that I ordered, and then I will show the library books that I picked up today. So continuing with the orders for today, Isabel Dmadariga, I hope I'm saying her name correctly, has an excellent biography on Ivan the Terrible. This was one that I checked out from my library and leafed through and decided to buy before I had started doing the Friday library book hauls, or else this would have been shown already. So I'm really excited about this. I haven't read anything that was solely dedicated to Ivan the Terrible. I have read sort of books where he is mentioned, excerpts of his life and so forth, but I'm really interested in being able to sort of dive in and get the all the nitty-gritty details and start being able to fill in that knowledge gap. The next book is another Helen Rappaport book. It is not a Russian history book, however, it is an English history book, and it is Helen Rappaport's second knowledge base. She has her books of Russian history and then her works of English history, and this is A Magnificent Obsession by Helen Rappaport, about Victoria and about Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. I love the cover design on this one. I'm really intrigued by this. The title alone is incredibly intriguing. I have read only a couple of books about Queen Victoria, nothing about Prince Albert, and really nothing about their relationship either, other than, of course, just in passing reference in the books about Queen Victoria that I have read. So I'm really intrigued by this, to sort of get an entire book just sort of dissecting their chemistry and their relationship, and really a marriage and a partnership and a relationship that really did forge an era. And so I'm really interested in this one. Also, I'm just a huge fan of Helen Rappaport in general, and so I wanted to go ahead and pick this up. This is not one that I got at the library first. This is one that I just saw on Thrift Books and just sort of decided to buy it then and there when I saw the title, the subject, and that it was Helen Rappaport. I want to have a representation of all of her books on my shelf because she's a remarkable writer and historian, and I really admire her work. Next, for the books that I got delivered today is The Race to Save the Romanovs by Helen Rappaport. And so this is another one in her Romanov series. It's not an official series, but she has several books focusing on the subject of the Romanov family, and so they sort of fall in line. And so this is her book about the efforts made to save the Russian imperial family during the revolution that ultimately failed. But I'm really excited to read this one because I have read a couple other books on this subject. Trying to get the glare away. I've read a couple other books on this subject, but Helen Rappaport has a certain way that she deals with the subject matter that is just so appealing to me and really connects with the way that I think and read and process information. And so I've really found her work to stick with me the best when dealing with this particular subject matter, which I'm so happy to have found her when I did, just because I have really been able to gain a lot from her works, and I'm very appreciative of the effort and the extent of research and quality control that goes into her works. So that is the last of the books that will be added as permanent additions to my library. And now I will switch over to the books that may become additions to my library depending on how much I find them helpful. So the first is called 1837 by Paul Worth. And it deals, I'm trying to get the glare away off that Mylar, and it deals with sort of a somewhat neglected period in Russian imperial history, and obviously it's a very slim book. It focuses very strictly on a very small particular time period, very small event in Russian history that I have not read very much about at all. So I'm really excited to get into this one. And I have a feeling that this is going to be one that I'll end up buying just because I don't have anything else that covers this specific period of the Russian imperial timeline. Next is a book by Orlando Figs, which I showed, I think I showed his book, Natasha's Dance, in a previous book haul, which is a cultural history of Russia. And this is his book on the Crimean War, which I am sure I'm going to love. And this bookmark is not mine. It was in the library book, so someone returned it without finishing it. This is one that I'm sure is going to be added to my shelf just because I'm a big fan of Orlando Figs, and I like to have a representation of his work. The next is by John Vander Keist. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Just a slim little look at the Romanov family. This one goes into the late 50s, so we get a little bit more of a look on the distant relatives of the Romanov family that did survive, which is very interesting. Next is by Mikhail Zygar, called The Empire Must Die, Russia's Revolutionary Collapse, 1900 to 1917. I read Michael Zygar's book, All the Kremlin's Men, which is a work analyzing Putin and his inner circle in the Kremlin, which was incredibly fascinating and very informative, helped me build a lot in that knowledge area. And so I'm really curious to see how this one works. He is a journalist as well, and so his writing definitely comes off very much as that journalistic style, and so it's very, I don't want to say it's flashy, but it is very hooking. It hooks you, it grips you in, and so it's a very entertaining style of reading, but he's still incredibly informative and very much he's very much in control of his subject matters and very much in control of his of his narratives, and he knows what he's talking about, and it definitely shows. But it's in no way dry or dull at all. It's very much it keeps you reading, keeps you turning the pages, which is what you want. And then last but not least is by Edward Crankshaw, and that is called The Shadow of the Winter Palace, Russia's Drift into Revolution, 1825 to 1917. So this just gives a little bit of a more fleshed out view of the Russian Revolution, backing up quite a bit there to set the stage. Show the back. We have a nice author portrait there on the back. And so I'm really curious about this one too. I have not read anything by Edward Crankshaw at all, so I'm really excited to be introduced to his writing style, as well as the this topic. I have read a couple other books sort of analyzing this same timeline, so I'm really excited to sort of read this one and be able to contrast and compare with some of the others that I have read. So that is the last of the library books. That is the end of the Friday library / regular book haul. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you would like to leave a comment, please feel free to do so, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.